Grandma, why do you have a strange smell? This question came from the mouth of Nancy Miller's little granddaughter with the same innocence as someone asking why the sky is blue. The child's mother quickly tried to smooth things over, smiling awkwardly. "Oh, it's just Grandma's natural scent, sweetie." But the words, as gentle as they were, fell like stones on Nancy's heart. She had always prided herself on her hygiene, on keeping her house clean, her body fresh, her clothes fragrant. Yet there was her granddaughter, standing a step away, holding her nose. From that day on, Nancy noticed the girl avoided her lap. Whenever she asked for a hug, the child hesitated. It began to eat away at Nancy from the inside. That night, Nancy slipped under the covers and cried. She cried from shame, from hurt, from helplessness, and more than anything, she cried because she didn't know what to do. Was she really giving off a bad smell? And why hadn't anyone told her before? Hello, my name is Dr. Henry. I'm 77 years old, and over the course of my career, I've had the honor of caring for more than 10,000 older people like Nancy, like you. And what I've learned in all this time is that there's a topic no one wants to touch, a near-taboo subject that affects thousands of elderly people every day, the smell of old age. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation? The seat next to you on the bus stays empty. Your grandchildren hesitate to jump into your lap. Your daughter-in-law always opens a window when you enter the room. And even though no one says anything directly, you feel something's different. If you've ever wondered whether it's just your imagination, I ask you to stick with me until the end. Because I'm not only going to explain why this happens, but I'll also show you, based on science, how to solve it in a simple and natural way. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel. It helps me reach more people like you and spread advice that can improve quality of life in maturity. Turn on the notification bell too. I've got plenty of tips to share in upcoming videos. Now, let's get back to the topic. And please understand, this isn't your problem. It's a common natural phenomenon, and above all, it's solvable. But to solve it, we need to understand it. The truth is that almost all of us, once we pass 60, start to give off a distinctive odor. It's not a lack of hygiene. It's not carelessness. It's science. And most importantly, it's reversible. George Carter, another patient of mine, is a classic example. He was always vain, meticulous, his house was spotless, his clothes always neatly pressed. Yet one day he overheard one of his son's friends whisper, "Man, it really smells like old people in here, huh?" George was devastated. From then on, he started avoiding visitors, not out of anger, but out of shame. He'd isolate himself when his grandchildren came over, and, like Nancy, he began to believe he'd lost something he could never get back. But what exactly happens to our bodies as we age? Three main changes explain the emergence of this odor. The first is a reduction in sweat. When we're young, our bodies sweat about 1 liter a day. This helps flush out toxins. After 60, that amount can drop by half or more. That means those toxins linger on the skin longer, feeding bacteria that produce unpleasant smells. Clark, a 71-year-old patient, once told me, "Dr. Henry, I barely sweat anymore. I thought it was a blessing until I realized I was stinking and didn't know why." This happens because the body loses part of its natural cleansing mechanism. The second change is in the composition of sebum, the skin's natural oil. After 50, this sebum starts to contain a substance called 2-nonenal. This compound is the real villain behind the old person smell. It's something young people barely produce, but it increases as we age. It's stubborn, clinging to skin, clothes, pillows, and it's tough to mask with perfumes. In fact, perfumes can make it worse. I'll get to that soon. The third change happens in the mouth. With age, we produce less saliva. This creates a dry environment perfect for the growth of bacteria that cause bad breath. Linda Harris, 69, told me, "I feel like my mouth is always dry and I'm ashamed to even talk close to my grandkids." That discomfort is real, and it gets worse when we don't know the cause. These three changes, when combined, explain why many people over 60 develop a different, more noticeable body odor. And the worst part, they don't notice it themselves. Studies show that 99% of people over 60 don't detect any change in their own smell, but the people around them do, and they're usually too polite to say anything. Frank Wilson, 88, is another example. He spent a fortune on expensive colognes, but his son would open the windows whenever he walked into the room. "Dr. Henry, it hurts. It feels like I'm losing my dignity," he told me, and I had to be honest. Cologne doesn't fix this problem. It's like spraying perfume on a sweaty sock. It only masks it for a moment, and often makes it worse. The secret is treating the cause, not the symptom. So how do we solve this practically? First, we need a daily, strategic approach. And it all starts with what I call the 3-minute shower trick. This simple method can eliminate up to 90% of the characteristic old age smell. And many of my patients swear it's what brought back their grandkids' hugs. James Parker, 75, was depressed. He said his grandkids avoided his room, and his son always opened the windows. But after applying these changes for a few weeks, he wrote to me, "Dr. Henry, my grandkids climb onto my lap now. It's magic." And what did he do? He started with water. That's right, hydration. Drinking warm water right after waking up helps cleanse the system. It's like an internal broom. Then he began drinking 6 glasses of water a day, spread out over time. No substituting with coffee or tea. Both dehydrate. 1 glass upon waking, 1 before lunch, 1 after lunch, 1 at 3 in the afternoon, 1 before dinner, and 1 before bed. Sounds simple? It is. But it makes all the difference. The second step that changed James Parker's life was a gentle walk in the sun. No marathons. Just 20 minutes of calm walking in the morning or late afternoon. The goal isn't to burn calories. It's to activate the body, get the blood flowing, and, most importantly, sweat lightly. Even small amounts of sweat help release toxins that, if trapped, fuel the characteristic smell so many want to avoid. Plus, sunlight at safe hours kills skin bacteria and boosts mood, something many older folks feel they're missing. Fred Taylor, 70, told me he could barely walk to the corner at first. But after 2 weeks of slow walks, his wife noticed a difference in the smell of his clothes. A month later, his grandson said, "Grandpa, can I sleep in your room tonight?" For Fred, that was worth more than any medicine. The third step is strategic hygiene. It's not about showering every day just for the sake of routine. It's about focusing on the areas that trap odor the most, those that, if neglected, account for over 90% of unwanted body smell. These are called critical zones and include skin folds, like the neck, armpits, behind the knees, groin, under the breasts, elbow creases, and around the navel. In these spots, sweat, dead skin cells, and sebum build up more easily. So even if you're showering regularly, if these areas are overlooked, the smell lingers. Behind the ears and scalp, many older folks wash their face and hair but forget to thoroughly clean behind the ears or deeply massage the scalp. Tom Harris, 62, said it was only after he started massaging his scalp more firmly during showers that the old head smell went away. His grandson's words. Feet and shoes. This is one of the strongest odor sources and often ignored. Closed shoes, socks, and poor ventilation create a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. John Miller, 68, struggled with a smell so strong it clung to his clothes. But when he started washing well between his toes using clean cotton socks and alternating shoe pairs to air them out for at least 24 hours, the smell vanished. Important. Avoid very hot water. Water above 40 degrees Celsius can dry out the skin and worsen the odor. Opt for warm showers between 37 and 39 degrees with gentle, lightly scented soaps. Strongly perfumed soaps only mask the issue for a few hours. You want to tackle the root, not cover it with artificial flowers. Oh, and a golden tip. Once a week, treat yourself to a longer 20-minute bath. Fill the tub or use a large basin. Let the warm water open your pores and soften impurities. Use a loofah or soft towel to gently scrub the folds. It not only cleans deeply but also leaves you feeling fresh and boosts your self-esteem. Now let's talk about the mouth. Over time, dry mouth becomes more common. Less saliva, more bacteria, more odor. Brushing your teeth twice a day is essential, but it's not enough. The crucial step is scraping your tongue. Few people do this, but it's where most bad breath-causing bacteria hide. Linda Parker, 73, said it felt weird at first. "Doctor, scrape my tongue? I've never done that in my life." But after 2 weeks, she came to my clinic smiling. My grandson kissed my cheek and said, "You smell nice today, Grandma." The happiness in her eyes is something I'll never forget. Also, chewing sugar-free gum with xylitol for 10 minutes after meals helps stimulate saliva production. It keeps the mouth fresher and less prone to odor buildup. And if you love coffee, like many of my patients, here's a tip. Limit it to 1 cup a day and always follow it with a glass of water. Coffee dehydrates and dries out the mouth, intensifying bad smells. The same goes for alcohol. When the body metabolizes alcoholic drinks, it produces a substance called acetaldehyde, extremely smelly and expelled through sweat. For those who enjoy wine or beer, my advice is to cut back on frequency and drink more water on days you indulge. But the real, deep transformation starts from the inside out. Your diet directly impacts your body's smell. Foods rich in antioxidants help neutralize compounds like 2-nonenal and offer anti-aging benefits. Favor red and purple fruits and vegetables like strawberries, grapes, tomatoes, and beets. They help purify the body. Paul King, 79, decided to add an apple and a tomato to his daily routine. 2 months later, his granddaughter, who used to avoid spending much time in his room, said, "Grandpa, you don't even have that smell anymore." He told me it was the most honest compliment he'd gotten in years. Another valuable tip: invest in water-rich foods like watermelon, cucumber, pears, and pineapple. They keep the body hydrated and help flush out toxins naturally. Nancy Miller, whom you met at the start of this story, began making tomato and cucumber smoothies every morning. Within weeks, her granddaughter was back to sitting on her lap to watch TV. Nancy cried, but this time, it was from joy. Now, let's address a factor often overlooked: constipation. A sluggish bowel causes toxins to build up in the body. Many of them end up being released through the skin, meaning bad smells. That's why a fiber-rich diet is key. Include brown rice, oats, grains, raw fruits, and vegetables in your meals every day. And drink water. Fiber only works if paired with liquid. Margaret Adams, 72, was highly skeptical. "Dr. Henry, are you telling me a simple food change will stop my granddaughter from saying I smell like old stuff?" I told her, "Try it for 30 days. 30 days later, she came back to my office with a cake in hand. It's apple and oat. My granddaughter wanted to bake it with me. She's spending afternoons here again. Stories like Margaret's remind me of what really matters. The smell of old age isn't a punishment or an inevitable fate. It's just a sign your body is changing, and you can change with it, with dignity, care, and science. If you've made it this far, write 3 in the comments so I know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's the time. It motivates me to keep bringing stories, research, and practical solutions that can improve lives. And now, come with me for the final secret. And here's the final secret. Take care of yourself with the same love you give to others. The smell of old age doesn't define who you are. It just reflects changes that can be understood and reversed. You deserve tight hugs, rooms full of laughter, and grandkids perched on your lap. So start today. A glass of water, a walk in the sun, a little care for your skin folds. The transformation begins with small steps. And before you know it, you'll hear that magical phrase again. "Grandma, can I sleep here with you tonight?" And it will all have been worth it.